Hi, welcome back. This week we'll continue with your introduction to Dreamweaver by taking a look at where to locate and manage your website files. And then we'll also take a look at CSS, which stands for Cascading Style Sheets. If you remember from last week, styles are sets of instructions for how you want your web page to appear in a web browser. I'll talk more about CSS in just a moment. But first, let's take a look at managing your website files. The most common approach to creating a website with Dreamweaver is to create and edit pages on your local computer and then upload copies of those pages to a remote web server for viewing on the web. Keep in mind that throughout most of this course, the web page files you create will stay on your own computer. Later in the semester, I'll talk more about uploading your final project to a web server. If you recall from last week, I asked you to create a folder on your computer which serves as the root directory of a complete website. In Dreamweaver terms, this is called defining a local folder. Now it's time to let Dreamweaver know where this folder is located on your computer. At the top of your Dreamweaver screen, look for the menu tab Site. Then choose New Site. From here, Dreamweaver will ask you to name your website. The sample website I'm creating in this demonstration is called widgets.com, so I'll go ahead and tell Dreamweaver to use this name. In the box just below, I need to let Dreamweaver know where my website files are located. Click Browse for Folder. Find the folder you created last week. Be sure not to open the folder, but click it once to select the folder to make it highlighted. Then click the Select Folder button located at the bottom of your screen. Now Dreamweaver knows the name of my website, and it knows where it should save the website files that I'll be creating later. Next, I'll click the Save button to confirm. Now we're back at the main Dreamweaver workspace. Notice in the upper right section of your screen that Dreamweaver shows your local website and the files that exist inside that folder. Also notice that you can open files located in your local website simply by double-clicking the file name here. Now it's your turn to let Dreamweaver know where your website files will be located by going through the steps we just completed. Remember to start by clicking the Site tab at the top of your screen. At this point, we have a local site created, and we've let Dreamweaver know where those folders and files are located using the Site options from the top menu. Now it's time to start developing our simple HTML document to look more like a real web page. We've already had a little practice doing this when we experimented with placing style tags in our HTML document to tell a browser which font face to display and what size that font should be. But style tags can do much more than that. Style tags can tell a browser a variety of different things about how we want our web pages to appear. For example, style tags can tell a browser to display certain colors in the background, in the text itself, in boxes, and in borders that surround those boxes. Style tags can also tell a browser where to place and position the different components of a web page. Although it's possible to locate all of your style information in the HTML document itself, a smarter and more efficient way to use styles is to locate all of your style information in a separate document. This is called an external cascading style sheet, or CSS file for short. The most important advantage in using external style sheets is that one CSS file can be used to control the appearance of thousands of different web pages. That means if something needs changed on every page of your website, you will make that change in one place only, the CSS file. Dreamweaver can be a great tool for helping us create external style sheets and also modify those style sheets as needed. However, before we jump into Dreamweaver's CSS Designer tool, I want you to first create a CSS document in Notepad. I think this will give you a better idea of exactly how a style sheet works. After you understand the basic concept, we'll then let Dreamweaver take over building style sheets from that point on. Let's start by creating a new folder in your root directory called CSS. Now let's create a new document in Notepad, and then save this file in our new CSS folder using the file extension .css. The first piece of information we need to add to this document is a line of text located at the top of the page. It looks like this. I won't go into the finer details of how or why this code makes a CSS file work, but it's an important element that helps browsers read and interpret the instructions that we'll be adding to this document. If you're not comfortable typing these characters yourself, I've provided a link below where you can download and save a Notepad file that has this code already entered. Look for the file named CSS Samples. Now that we have that first line of code entered in our CSS document, we can enter some style information. Since we already have some style information entered in our HTML document, let's move that information from the HTML document to the CSS document, like this. Now resave the CSS document. And that's all there is to it. Congratulations, you've just created an external style sheet. Now keep in mind that using an external style sheet means that we'll need to make a couple of changes to our HTML file. Here we are in our original HTML document. We won't be needing this style information anymore since this is now located in the external style sheet. So let's delete that now. Also, we no longer need these beginning and ending tags, so let's delete these as well. In this same location, we'll tell a browser where our style sheet is located by adding this line of code. Again, if you're not comfortable trying to type this code by hand, you can copy the text from the CSS sample file I've provided for you below. Make sure the code you just entered here remains inside the head tags of your document. At this point, there's nothing more we need to add to make this HTML document and the external style sheet work together. So let's open our revised HTML document in Dreamweaver and take a look. Notice in the Design View pane that our document still shows the font style that we created earlier, but the instructions are coming from the external CSS file, not the HTML document that we are looking at here. Also notice that Dreamweaver has added a new document tab at the top of the page. Does this file name look familiar? It should. This is a direct link to the external style sheet we just created. Now let's do some experimenting and see if changes we make to the external CSS file will show up in the Design View. First, click the Document tab here to open our CSS file. Now let's change the font size to 100 pixels just to see what happens. Now click the Design View to refresh the page and see the changes. Then go back to Split View. Now we know that whatever changes we make to our external style sheet here will be reflected in the HTML document itself. Your assignment for the remainder of this week is to 1. Create a new folder in your root directory and name that folder CSS. 2. Create a new document using Notepad and name that document style.css. Be sure to save this document inside your CSS folder. 3. In your style.css file, enter the following code. Remember that you can copy and paste from the CSS samples file I've provided you below. 4. Revise your original HTML document by removing the style information, and in its place, indicate where your external style sheet file is located. Again, you can copy and paste this code from my CSS samples file. 5. Open your revised HTML file in Dreamweaver and then start experimenting. Feel free to change the attributes in your external style sheet, like the font face and the font size, and then see the results in the design view of your document. Next week, we'll take a look at how to use Dreamweaver instead of Notepad to create those external style sheets. This will give you an opportunity to create a nearly infinite number of style attributes to customize